Greetings folks, today I'm going to be showing you how to make walls for your dungeons. As I mentioned in our building dungeon tile video, I'm not a huge fan of using full-sized walls in my dungeon because I think it gets in the way of moving around your miniatures and it makes them harder to see. So today I'm going to show you how to build some low walls, but the techniques can be applied to any dungeon walls and any walls that you want to use outside as well. So let's head over to the bench and get started. I began by cutting the basic shape for the wall. For this example I used 10mm blue foam and cut it to 3cm wide strips, which were then cut down to size to match the dungeon tile I was using. With the strips cut out, I began marking out the layer lines for my stones. I used 1cm spacing for this, but if you wanted to make smaller or larger stones in your wall, just adjust your lines accordingly. I continued my lines onto both sides of the wall so I could place the walls between two tiles for maximum flexibility in my builds. Next I drew the horizontal lines for the stones. I did this at 2cm intervals and staggered their placement for each line of the stones. Once I'd marked out the stones for the walls, I traced over them using my X-Acto knife, cutting just a few millimeters into the foam. I then came back and went over these lines with a pencil to engrave them. With the stones engraved, I used a metal sculpting tool to round over some of the corners of the stones and soften the edges. This gives them a more natural look. Next I came back in with my X-Acto knife and trimmed the faces on some of the stones to recess them. This adds more variation to the piece and makes it look more natural and interesting. After recessing some of the stones, I added some cracks to a few of them and then used a selection of real stones, brick and concrete to press into the surface of the wall to give it a natural texture. With the building complete, it was time to move on to painting. I began by sealing the foam with a mix of Mod Podge and black paint. This seals the foam and makes it harder, but also serves as a base coat for painting. To paint the piece, I used a dry brushing technique and a variety of greys, starting from a dark colour and working my way all the way up to white in stages without washing my brush to create some natural blending. Once the grey was completely dry, I gave the entire piece a wash using watered down black acrylic with a drop of green, a drop of brown and a tiny amount of dish detergent to act as a flow improver. This technique is great if you need to paint a lot of terrain quickly, but there are more realistic methods using more colours that we'll look at in the future. And there you have it, great looking walls that are super easy to make. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like below because it really helps us out, and let us know in the comments below what you'd like to see us make next. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We release new content every Friday and you can subscribe by clicking right up here. And if you want to see the last week's video, you can do that right here. And until next time, happy gaming!